Okay, great. So let's make a start. As I was saying, of all the months, this is the most auspicious month of Kartik. This year it's been a double sale because we had the bumper sale of Purushottam month, and now we've entered into the another sale. So it's like Christmas, Boxing Day sale, and New Year sale. So these are the biggest sale months for us as a practicing sadhakas to take advantage of. And what better thing to do than to recite, the chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita together, which is entitled Devotional Service. So I'm going to bring up the screen here now and share my screen. So, wow, okay, 1 second. Chapter 12, Bhagavad Gita Devotional verses. Oh, for some reason the verses are not displaying. Just give me a minute.
Because the hospitalizations already exceeded the first wave peak by this time, deaths would follow. So unfortunately, it's a very grim picture in terms of what this
I'm
looks
just
like.
going to mute everybody because I know there's a lot of talk about the lockdown. Here we are. Okay. 1 second. Can you? Okay, sorry about that. Just going to share my screen. For some reason, the Word document with the verses is not opening. So we'll directly go to the Veda base and see it from there. So Sridham, I'm going to invite Sridham, who's going to start in Sanskrit recitation, and followed by Yash, who will do the English translation. So Sridham, you can make a start with the invocation prayers.
Arjuna Vacha Evam Sat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Arjuna Vacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktastam Paripasate Ye Chapi Aksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vitamaha.
Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in their devotional service, or those who work with unpleasant wrong, the unmanifested?
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Veshyamano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Teme Yukta Tamamataha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered to be most perfect.
Yete Aksharam Anirdeshyam Avyaktam Parupasate Sarvatragam Chintyam Cha Kutastam Achalam Dhruvam Saniyamendriya Graman Sarvatra Samabhudayaha Te Prapnuvanti Mameva Sarvabhuta Hiterata.
But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses of being equally disposed to everyone, such persons, engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me.
Kleshodikatarastesham Avyakta Shakta Chetasam Avyakta Hi Gatir Dukham Deha Vadbir Avapyate.
Those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara ananyaneva yogena mamdhyayanta upasate.
But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed the minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Teshamaham samudarta mrityu samsarasagarat bhavami nacharat parta maya veshita chetasam.
So, those who worship me, giving all the activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having, this. Which verse are we doing again? Sorry.
Text 8.
Just fix your mind upon me, the supreme personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt.
Mayeva manadatsva mai buddhim niveshaya nivishyasya mayeva hata urdvam na samshaya.
My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti
Sorry,
Yoga.
Yash. I think
Sorry,
Yash. I think the translation is going a little bit because of the one verse. Shitam couldn't finish the second part, and I think since then the translation has gone a little bit. It's not exactly in relation to the text. So let's start with the text 8 again. So now you can read the translation of text 8, and then we'll go to text 9.
Okay.
Just fix your mind upon me. That's the translation. Yeah.
Okay. Just fix your mind upon me, the supreme personality of Godhead, and engage your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt.
Katachittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi stiram abbasya yogena tato mammit chaptam dhananjaya.
My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me.
Abhyasepiya samartosi matkarama paramo bhava mad arthamapi karmani karvan siddhim avapyashi.
If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Te tadapi saktosi kartum madyogamashita sarvakarma phalatyagam tata kuru yatatmavan.
If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated.
Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagas tyagachantiranantaram.
If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind.
Advastha sarva bhutanam metta karuna evacha nirmanunira
One who is not envious,
Santushta satatam yogi yatatma dridhanishchaya mayarpita manokir bhakta same priyaha.
One who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor in his awful false ego, who is both equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotion, service, and determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me.
Hare Krishna, Tapasi Basu. Please mute yourself.
You have been connecting.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody. I'm sorry, I've just muted everybody again. So Yash, you can unmute yourself. I do apologize. I'm not quite sure where the background noise is coming. So kindly stay on mute because I've just muted everybody. If everyone can stay muted except Yash, that will be great. Thank you.
Yashvannodvijate loko lokannodvijate harshamarsa bhayodveger mukto yasa chame priyaha.
He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equiposed in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me.
Napeksha sachir daksha udasino gatavitaha sarvaramba parityagi yomat bhakta same priyaha.
My devotee is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, but is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me.
Yona rishyayiti na dvashti na sojati na kankshati subha subha parityagi bhakti manya same priyaha.
One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me.
Samasatra cha mitre cha tata mana pamanayaho sitoshna sukha dukeshu sama sangha vivarjitaha tulya ninda satir moni santushto yena kenachit aniketa stiramatyer bhakti man me priyo nara.
One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equiposed in honor and dishonor, heat or cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me.
Yetu dharmamritam idam yatoktam parupasate shraddhana mat parama bhaktaste tiva me priyaha.
Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me.
Right. Thank you so much, Yash and Sridham, for tuning in and to translate and to recite the verses. That was done very beautifully. So you can continue to stay on the call. We are going to now have a discussion on text 11. So I'm going to take you all to text 11. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, here we are. So let me just click purport. We can, so text 11. So here we are. Athetat api ashaktoshi kartum madhyogam ashrita sarva karma phalatyagam tata kuru yatatmavan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all the results of your work. Just see if somebody's been sending me some messages. Just want to make sure. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Purport. It may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familial, or religious consideration, or because of some other impediments. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objects from family members or so many other difficulties. For one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated result of such activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. There are many descriptions of sacrifices and special functions for the full moon day, and then there is a special work in which the result of one's previous actions may be applied. Thus, one may gradually become elevated to the state of knowledge. It is also found that when one who's not even interested in the activities of Krishna consciousness gives charity to some hospital or some other social institution, he gives up the hard-earned results of his activities. That is also recommended here because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually, and in the purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness. Of course, Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience because Krishna consciousness itself can purify one's mind. But if there are impediments to accepting Krishna consciousness, one may try to give up the results of his actions. In that respect, social service, community service, national service, sacrifice for one's country, etc., may be accepted so that someday one may come to the stage of pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 18.46, we find it is stated, Yatha pravitir bhutanam. If one decides to sacrifice for the supreme cause, even if he does not know that the supreme cause is Krishna, he will come gradually to understand that Krishna is the supreme cause by the sacrificial method. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhe Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So just a quick recap. We are now into the second section of the Bhagavad of this chapter. So the first section is 7 verses, which talks about bhakti is how bhakti is superior to impersonalism. In the second section, we are now discussing the progressive stages of devotion. And if you remember in the text 8, which was discussed in the last few days, what was the advice Krishna is giving to Arjuna? He's saying one lives within Krishna by continuously fixing one's mind and intelligence upon him. So that is the highest stage of attaining devotional service to the Lord, by constantly thinking of him. Satatam kirtayanto mam yata nantascha dhritarvita. So all the time, those souls are virtuous souls who are constantly thinking and chanting and glorifying the Lord amongst each other. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Such people are constantly deriving pleasure. So only for somebody who's deriving the pleasure, that person's mind will constantly be think of Krishna, and that his intelligence will be completely engaged in the devotional service of Krishna. So that is the best stage to be situated in, and that's what Krishna is recommending right at the beginning of this 4 verses. And now in the next verse, in the text 9, he's saying that one practices the regulative principles of bhakti yoga to increase one's desire and ability to remember and obtain Krishna. So what is he saying in the next day? He's saying, okay, one practices the regulative principles of, so if you cannot fix your mind on me, and if you cannot use your intelligence to worship me and engage your intelligence in me, then at least try to follow the regulative principles of bhakti yoga, where one desires an ability to remember and obtain Krishna. At least you are in the stage of desiring to reach the perfection level. So what is recommended here, almost you can look at it in a way that on the second stage here, it is a Vaidhi Bhakti what is being recommended. The topmost level is a text state where one is already situated at a stage where he's completely dedicated with word, body and mind to serve the Lord. And now in text 10, if we can't even follow the regulative principles of bhakti yoga, the text 10 is saying one surrenders one's work to Krishna. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, tadasi, yat. So Krishna is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, O son of Kunti, do that as a charity unto me. Do that as an offering to me. Sorry, not a charity. That's not the word. Do that as an offering to me. So that's the next stage Krishna is recommending if you cannot even follow the regulative principles. And now in today's text, Krishna is saying, at least I can speak for myself, he's speaking, okay, you can't even follow the regulative principles. You can't at least try to surrender, give up all the result of one's work to some good cause. So after, not, if we can't even do Nishkama Yoga, which is to surrender our work to Krishna, now he's saying, okay, that means you're not even able to surrender the results of my work. Now at least you do some pious activities, and through that you will reach to the platform of knowledge, and then you can begin the process of devotional service. So obviously this is the third section and the last section, where the qualities that endear one to Krishna. How do we reach the Lord and his abode? So the theme of this particular text today is that if you cannot practice what was mentioned in the text 10, as we discussed already, working in consciousness of Krishna, then try to give up all the results for your work and be self-situated. That's what Krishna is trying to tell us here. And let's see what we have here. So Arjuna is happy to hear that devotional service is superior, but he's wondering what is the attainment. Sorry, I have not changed this slide here, but that was the theme of that verse, but this particular text in black is not related to this particular text. So after understanding now what Krishna is saying, Prabhupada gives some really nice points, which I've kind of highlighted here in bold. So the first point Prabhupada is telling us, what are the reasons one may be unable to sympathize for Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada is saying, acts because of some social, familial, religious consideration or any other impediments. So you see, this was sometimes it happens. It has happened in my life. I liked once when we were on a retreat in Wales and Sutapa Prabhu was giving a seminar, and he said a very nice point. He said, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are very conscious of what others are thinking of us trying to be Krishna conscious. And then what happens is, at a certain stage, we are not even comfortable being in the attire of devotee, because we feel, what will other think seeing me with the tilak, with the kanti mala? In the beginning stages when we are taking, at least I can speak for myself, I'm not sure how many of you are able to relate to it, but we do become conscious that, okay, well, I'm going to walk out of the door. My neighbors are going to see me. Never been out in a dhoti kurta. It's the first time I'm doing it. And then that stage itself takes us a while. So these, in one sense, it is a little bit like being conscious of what the people are going to think, what the family is going to think. And of course, then there are considerations for people where unfortunately the families are not very supportive when we take to Krishna consciousness. Sometimes the husband is not, and wife is not, and children is not, or the parents are not. And so Prabhupada is saying these are some of the reasons where one may feel some level of reluctance to take to the process wholeheartedly. And look at how Krishna is kind. He already knows that this will happen in the material world. One time, Srila Prabhupada he was in San Francisco, and one of his students who was not initiated at that time was very young, and he joined the ashram, but his parents were really against his son joining the ashram, the father. So one day the father stormed into the temple after the class, and he went to see Prabhupada. He said, my son is here and I need to see your Swami. And he went to see the Swami, and then he said, why are you brainwashing all these young children, especially my son? So Prabhupada said, we are actually washing his brain because his brain is really being washed by the material energy. And now we are cleansing his mind so he can take to the process of Krishna consciousness. And can you not see, like, your son is here? Was he not drinking before? Was he not? So that person has transformed. And then the next argument the father gave, but Swamiji, this is not the age. This is the age for a young person to focus on his studies and do something and positively contribute to the society. So Prabhupada said, very well said, sir. Please take your son with you, and we request you to join the campaign. You're 60-year-old. It's the right age. So in the next few minutes, the father was gone from there, nowhere to be seen after that. So this is just an example that of course, that is Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada had a wonderful sense of humor, and because, he was completely empowered by Lord Krishna. So whatever he said, whatever he did, so many times we hear Prabhupada speaking in the lectures, this is all nonsense. This is all rascaldom. Prabhupada uses the word. This was the first time I ever heard this word called rascaldom, by the way, from the lotus mouth of Srila Prabhupada. I was like, wow, that's a fascinating word. So Prabhupada could use those words because he's a pure devotee, and he can preach with such vigor, such enthusiasm, and such courage. and so yeah, sometimes we have these impediments. So what Krishna is offering us is, okay, if you haven't got to that stage, then what is the hope recommended for certain people? Sacrifice the accumulated results to some good cause. And on what basis? Even that is based on the Shastra. So there are Shastras like Manu Samhita, which recommends, which are like a code for human beings to follow in their day-to-day life. So Manu Samhita recommends certain kind of yajna, certain kinds of sacrifices, like which can be performed in some cases to please the devatas who are ultimately trying to please the Lord Vishnu, but mainly it is being performed to please Lord Vishnu. So they are also recommended in the Shastras because they give you some piety when you perform certain sacrifices. And then how that helps? It helps one may gradually elevate to the stage of the knowledge, by performing such yajnas, doing some charity, as we will hear in the practical examples, like opening hospitals, opening social institutions, schools. Such sacrifices of hard-earned results purify the mind, because the whole idea is, when you give, you go up, and when you take, you go down. So this is the journal psychology of the spiritual codes, actually, of the Vedas, that by giving we go up, and by taking we go down. And hence this campaign which we are doing is called Live to Give. We want to live, we want to make our existence in such a way that we live with the right principles of Krishna consciousness, we practice them with the right consciousness, and then we give that to others so that others can benefit of this, actually. So here are some practical examples of how people can open up these places and create Sukriti. But Prabhupada also recommends us that this is not the process for us, at least for all of us who are joining and trying to keep close to the transcendental vibration of Srimad Bhagavad Gita every day, because we want to attain the highest platform. We want our mind and our intelligence to be fixed in the process of devotional service, as Krishna is saying in the text 8 of this chapter. But because the Lord is kind and he understands some of us may not be there yet, he's saying, okay, these are the gradual steps, and then you gradually rise. But somehow or other, if we have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada, his wonderful, glorious disciples, and Prabhupada books, then we know that when we can, it's like, when there is an opportunity to go to Vrindavan and there is no lockdown and in Kartik, then you will not be satisfied just by looking at the picture. You want to be physically present in Vrindavan to feel that mood, and that whole atmosphere which is surcharged with devotional service. You see thousands and thousands of devotees crowding into the veranda of Krishna Balram temple. Then you see all those devotees with the lamp in a queue rushing through from the left side. As you queue on towards Srila Prabhupada Asan, you pick, just before Srila Prabhupada Vyasa, you pick up the diya in your hand, then you walk up to Krishna Balram, to Gaurnitai, then you offer, then you move to Krishna Balram, then Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, like we saw in today's video of Radhika Ranjan Prabhu. And then you offer it to the beautiful deity there of Yashoda and Lord Damodar, Tulsi Maharani. Then you take Charanamrit, probably not at that time because you have to watch out your hair and everything. So you want to be in that atmosphere. You want to feel, okay, I'm in Vrindavan. So similarly, if we know that the best state of mind or consciousness is to have our consciousness completely situated in Lord and his service, then we don't want to settle for something like this. We want to try hard with humility, with prayers to reach this platform. And what really changes our consciousness, or what really helps us to evolve, to come to certain platform, to understand what it is the Shastra. It gives us the vision to see something which is beyond this material world. It tells us the reality which is distinguished from illusion for the benefit of all, as we hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam directly. So that's the power of these books of Srila Prabhupada, that they gives us a very penetrating, very, very clear understanding of how we can lead our life in such a beautiful, significant way that not only we perfect our life, but at the same time we become an embodiment or an instrument to 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 live, to give to others actually, this whole process of Krishna consciousness, be it in form of prasadam, be it in form of chanting the Maha Mantra in Harinam on the streets, or be it in the form of distributing Srila Prabhupada books. So I thought, since we are in this, sorry, I'm gonna have to just mute, bear with me. Okay. So that is the mood of of a devotee, that he's always thinking how to do the best for others. And that's the mood of the month of Kartik. You see, if you look at the whole Leela of the Kartik month, of course, it's for the pleasure of the devotees, the Lord enacts this Leela. That was the whole purpose. But even in those beautiful pastimes, there are so many wonderful other hidden pastimes which we see. Why is Lord Krishna is all attractive? Why is he called, he's all compassionate? Because he could not see Manigriva and Nalkuvera situated in his courtyard for such a long time, going through that punishment. Lord said, I have grown up enough, I have enough strength to liberate these two personalities. I can't wait to see these two devotees who are standing in the form of tree. Let them come to their beautiful form. Let the whole world see this beautiful pastimes unfolding. That's the nature of the Lord. And this month is called the month of Srimati Radharani, purely because in this month, because one reason is, of course, the devotional service in itself is a manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord, which is Haladini Shakti. And this particular month is about Srimati Radharani, because we are trying to please Srimati Radharani. The whole atmosphere of Vrindavan is trying to please Srimati Radharani, because she's the most dear to Krishna. And seeing us very nicely engaged in our vows, in extra vows, trying to make that effort, trying to uh, attract the attention of Srimati Radharani and her pure devotees like the Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, all of these who are coming in their line all the way to Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master, then there is some hope for us actually. And if you see in the spiritual world, Srila Prabhupada mentions this in a lecture. He says that when when Srimati Radharani sees that this devotee is engaged very nicely, she then takes that recommendation to the Lord and says, "Oh my dear Lord, oh my Nath, oh Sri Sham Sundar, please kindly glance upon this wonderful devotee, say Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu, who's so wonderfully engaged in your devotional service. He's making every adjustment in his life just so that he can please you and come closer to you, my Lord. So kindly bestow upon him pure devotional service." And that's what Radharani does. And once Radharani does that, or once Hanuman does that to Lord Ram, then we are in the top list of the Lord. Then we become the recipient of that mercy. So that's why the mercy of the pure devotees in our life plays such a significant role. I do not have any sukriti. I cannot do any devotional service. Only if my spiritual master somehow or other, if he desires, then there is some hope for me to perfect my life. If somehow or other Prabhupada is pleased, then there is some chance of us perfecting this life. So I wanted to share a couple of nice stories with you, that how people's life get transformed when they get in touch with Srila Prabhupada through his books actually. So here is the first one. This is in a Srila Prabhupada. One second. Sorry, there were two more points from the purport which I haven't gone through. And they were that in what cases social service, community service, and national service is recommended. I've kind of gone through it, but let's just have a look. Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience, because Krishna consciousness itself purify the mind. But if there are impediments to Krishna consciousness, then one can try to give up the results of his action for some good cause. And then in that respect, social service, community service, national service can be accepted or may be accepted. You see, the Prabhupada is making very, very clear. He's saying it's not, Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience, because Krishna consciousness in itself purifies the mind. And the reference is given that principle behind the philosophy is that if one decides to sacrifice for the supreme cause, even if he does not know that the supreme cause is Krishna, he will gradually understand that the supreme cause is Krishna. So I hope that's kind of makes sense, these points from Prabhupada's purport. And now let's look at some magic of the Shastra of Srila Prabhupada books, particularly Bhagavad Gita, because that's our meditation this month. So this story is from Vijay Prabhu, who's a minister of book distribution based in Mayapur. So maybe we can have somebody read the story. Let's see who we have here. We have Ajay Mukunda Prabhu. Would you like to read the story for us? Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Recently, a friend gave a Bhagavad Gita to a person named Donald. From the beginning of his reading, he liked it so much. Every day he was reading for 2 hours. He had smoked for 30 years but stopped. Then he had stopped eating meat, and he felt a sense of being purified, all from reading Srila Prabhupada's books. He contacted the devotees in Columbus, Ohio, and asked whether there was any way to get more books. It was during the pandemic, so he wasn't working, meaning he was short of money. He wanted books to both read and distribute. He wanted Srimad Bhagavatam, but he couldn't afford it. A devotee put it on the Columbus Forum of Devotees, asking whether anyone would sponsor a Srimad Bhagavatam set. Within 2 minutes, a set was sponsored. When the devotee told Donald a set was sponsored, he was in tears. All glories to the merciful devotees and to Srila Prabhupada's books. Your servant, Vijay Dasa.
Thank you, Prabhu. So do you see the intensity and the desire? Today we were having a call with Vrindavan Chand Prabhu and few other devotees. Vrindavan Chand Prabhu was facilitating this call about how to mobilize our corporate effort, working with a group of devotees. And in that, at the end, Dunduman Prabhu, he mentioned such a nice point. He said, of course, the pandemic is there, everything is there. But he said, beyond anything else, what's there which we are not able to see clearly is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when that mercy descends, then anything is possible. We can distribute millions of Bhagavad Gitas in UK, let alone 35,000 from the manor, And today, myself and Keshav Prabhu and Mukunda Hari Prabhu, we felt that magic. We had our first contact calling call, first ever in the history of Bhaktivedanta Manor, at least from the Bhaktivedanta Manor congregation. We have never done this kind of Sankirtan in the history, at least if I know of, it hasn't happened. And we were just 4 of us, then became 6, then 8, then 12, then there were 13 of us. And we each took, by the time we started to make call, because it was the first session, we did a mock call, like a role play. And then we started to make call to our friends. And every devotee had such a great experience calling up their friends, and people were receptive. Most of us were able to distribute at least 1 or 2, levels, like either 15 books were sponsored or a box. Everybody was, if not anything else, people were calling back later on and saying, yes, I will take it. And that's still happening. Messages are still coming. So this is the magic of sharing Krishna consciousness. And there is nothing more pleasing to Srimati Radharani, seeing a devotee sincerely following his vows and trying to bring others by hand to her lotus feet so she can then take him or her to Lord Krishna. Let's hear one more story and then we will conclude. So this one, maybe because we can hear our Vrindavan Chand Prabhu has joined our call. So Vrindavan Chand Prabhu, if you are there, would you like to read this story for us? Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes.
I was on traveling Sankirtan during the marathon. I was in Shepparton, 2 hours north of Melbourne. At one point, not many books were going out, and I was praying for help. Suddenly, a middle-aged lady appeared in front of me, and I introduced myself and offered her a Bhagavad Gita. She gracefully accepted the book with a sigh of surprise and excitement and said, I have to tell you something. A few days ago, I saw a truck full of cows to be slaughtered, and I decided not to eat meat anymore. I had a dream last night. A yogi came and gave me some instructions. And now here you are, a monk, a yogi in front of me. I practiced yoga a while ago and then stopped. This meeting is the indication that I need to know more about yoga. And now I have the Bhagavad Gita. She gave a nice donation and happily walked away. One hot afternoon, I was in Traral Ulgon, 2 hours east of Melbourne. I stopped a lady and gave her a Gita. She accepted it and said, I really need to speak to you. I am going through a bit of a rough patch in my life, and I was thinking that I should read Bhagavad Gita. I went on the internet and I found out that there were so many editions of the Gita. I was praying to God to give me the right edition. And now here you are with the authentic edition. Thank you. She walked away with a smile of relief. Gopa Brindesha Das.
Vrindavan Chan Prabhu, would you like to share some comments on that story, Prabhu? Just some reflection.
Two things strike me reading that. The first is that there are so many souls out there that are just ready and ripe to receive the Bhagavad Gita. And we just have to put ourselves out and Krishna will make the connection. And we see that happen time and time again. And to be an instrument where a soul that's been in this material world for countless lives and to connect with Krishna again, that's something quite extraordinary. It's pleasing, so pleasing to Krishna. Therefore, we find when we distribute books, there is a certain taste, there's a certain experience, there's a certain joy that we cannot really experience in almost any other activity. And that joy really comes from the joy that Krishna feels when a connection with the lost soul is made with him again. That's my realization.
Wow, very profound. Thank you, Prabhu. So on that note, we should bring our session for conclusion. As Vrindavan Chand Prabhu said, there is nothing more moving than seeing other move, like moving closer to Krishna actually. That really moves people. And today we had that experience on the call and you saw the messages on the Sankirtan Forever group. Every devotee was feeling so. We had Bhadra Mataji, who has never even tried one-to-one book distribution. She turned up onto the call and she couldn't understand what was going on. So she was there. And then after a while, she couldn't speak. Then she said something. And then she said, Prabhu, I've just joined in to see how you're doing it, and she said, now I'm going to get ready, get the contacts. I'm going to call Mukunda Hari Prabhu and I'm going to be ready for the next call next Saturday. We had Divya Gaurangi Mataji, who was trying to get as quickly as she can from her appointment to home so she can dial in. Even towards the end, she did manage to dial in. And she's now getting ready to call some of it's a very exciting time when you're calling people and saying, and there is one way to look at it. Okay, Prabhu, so many Gitas, we don't know whose hand, but this is the magic. Of the 35,000 Gitas we are trying to distribute, even if one Gita gets into a hand and gets treasured as we saw in the story, and the person really appreciates it and becomes Krishna consciousness, all those 35,000 Bhagavad Gitas will come, will be calculated as a big success actually. And it happens. Sometimes the Gita goes in one country and the whole country, that's how the whole Soviet Union, Russia, it started with one Bhagavad Gita, which went in different pages, not even one complete book. And today, after India, Russia has the most amount of the devotees actually. That's the power of this book. So let's take some reflections, couple of reflections. And then what we are going to do is we're going to have Damodarastakam, because on Saturday we do this. We do a bhajan. So on Saturdays, we'll have the Damodarastakam. But before that, just a couple of reflections. And then after the Damodarastakam, I'm going to hand it over to Hema Mataji. She wanted to just sort of make few announcements and she had a few things to say. But before that, any comments or any reflections, anything you would like to share?
Chandra was talking about Melbourne.
Yes, Mataji, Vrindavan Chand Prabhu was talking about Melbourne. That's right. You're right. Mataji is still talking in the background. Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu, are you trying to say something, Prabhu, to enlighten us?
Yes,
please share
Prabhu,
your experience, Prabhu. Yes.
I think this is a wonderful seva. We are so inspired by all you devotees. Just your association is enough for us.
Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu and his wonderful wife Mataji, they're both doing such a nice service. We have started our new website, so they're taking care of receiving the orders, putting them in an envelope, taking down to the nearest post office and sending them to the recipients. Imagine what better service. I want to share this with you very briefly with all of you. One time, my spiritual master was flying from, I think it was from New York to San Francisco. And at that time, he was traveling from one country. Even now he travels to share Krishna consciousness with others. And then he was filling the boarding pass, not the boarding pass, the immigration card. And there it said profession. So Maharaj thought for a while, and there I think he then put the ambassador of, I think it was, um, I can't remember the word, but it's to do with the, yeah, I think it was to do with the delivery of messenger. Yeah, that's what Maharaj wrote down. So he said, that's what we are, we are the messenger in the army of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, trying to just, what we have been given, trying to share with others. So thank you, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu, for dedicating your life for this purpose. You're a great example for all of us, Prabhu. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, Garta Mataji has something to say. She's saying, just so wonderful to hear the glorification of Prabhupada and his approach to devotee struggles with worldly impediments. Life, family members not supporting. He had no impediments because he spiritualized everything. Hare Krishna, thank you for sharing these pastimes and glorification. It's very purifying. Thank you, Garta Mataji, for your unwavering, wonderful service you're doing. And given your circumstances and your work, you're doing a wonderful service. Thank you. We have here Hemlata Mataji saying, what I concluded from the second story, the first lady had faith and had strong desire to get the book, and by the mercy of the Supreme Godhead, he helped her to fulfill the desire. That is so very true, Mataji. That's exactly what happened. Because her desire was so strong and the super soul situated in her heart reciprocated, ye yatha mam prapadayante tamste bhajami aham. Complete reciprocation was there from the Lord, by taking that soul to the right person in uniting. I really like that story because imagine somebody's praying after looking for Bhagavad Gita. There are so many editions. Which one should I read? Which one? And there we are, Bhagavad Gita as it is. That's why it's so important for us to be out on the streets. If not on the streets, at least let's send these Bhagavad Gitas by post to thousands of people across, so people get some enlightenment. The world is now going back into the lockdown for the second time. It has just been announced. UK is going into lockdown, I believe, from next week, Thursday, for 4 weeks. So imagine another wave of depression, another wave of sadness, another wave of not having hope for so many people. But when they get a copy of Bhagavad Gita put through their post, they will open it and they'll say, Matra sparshastu kanteya sitasuna sukha dukkadaha agna paino nitya stam titikshava bharata. They will read that this happiness and distress are like the appearance and disappearance of the summer and the winter season. They arise from sense perception, Oceana Bharata, and one should learn to tolerate them. When they will read, and then when they'll read the illuminating purport of Prabhupada, they'll say, oh my God, this makes complete sense. I'm suffering and now I can do something about it. So they get a real perspective about the knowledge actually. Okay, any last comments, and then we'll go to the
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Divya Prabhu.
Haribol Palika Mataji.
Just a little story, when I was doing the service in Japagat, and once we were giving out this little card, oh, how many round will you do? And so this lady coming from Scotland, and she's a white body. And so I said, how many chants would you like to do? He said, I've been chanting 16 times. I said, that's wonderful. I said,
Wow.
how did you manage that? She said, oh, I was going through a charity shop, and then I see Bhagavad Gita. And then she said, oh, I thought I was going to rescue the Bhagavad Gita, and I paid 50 pence.
Wow.
And actually it changed my whole life. Then I knew that I wasn't really going actually to rescue my life. And since
Wow.
then I started chanting, and I come every year. I stay in the hotel, and I always come in the temple during these festivals, the Janmashtami festivals. I thought, wow, what Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita has given us, and how the soul, when they're ready, it will be there in their
Okay.
hand. The life will change.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Palika Mataji. Yes, this Bhagavad Gita is magical book for sure, for sure. So on that note, if I could request everybody to please take part in this yagya in whatever capacity. We had two devotees who had no contacts, but they left with such a hope to write down the contacts, and then they're going to be back again next week to try and make those calls. Actually, it was a first attempt, but it turned out to be such a success by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I can't even begin to explain. I'm very grateful to all the devotees who are helping Srila Prabhupada, and I'm sure Srila Prabhupada is empowering all of us and trying to give us his blessings. So here is the Damodarastakam, and I will invite Madhu Kumari Mataji, who would lead the bhajan for us. And then after that, I'm going to hand it over to Hema Mataji. So we will recite along with Madhu Kumari Mataji behind the muted mics. But before that, perhaps you all can take turn because it takes time to call out the name. So anybody who's ready can go with the translation for the first verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, Jyoti Mataji.
To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the end of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who due the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is equally running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances.
Thank you. I'm just going to mute everybody. So whoever is next can unmute themselves and go ahead and do the translation of second and verse.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shall I do it?
Yes, go ahead, Palika Mataji, and then Rasalila Mataji, you can go next for the third one.
Okay, thank
Thank you. Seeing the weeping stick in his mother's hand, he was crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with the two lotus hands. His eyes were full with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with the 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because he is quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with the ropes, but with the mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Chai.
By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. Thank you.
Oh Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. Oh Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bal Gopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart, for what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? Thank you.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
O Lord, your lotus face is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, Shabani Mataji, go ahead.
O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you, O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord. Be pleased upon me by showing your glance of mercy upon me. Deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
May I read?
Yep, go ahead, Shavita Mataji. Hare Krishna, Shavita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Yep, go ahead.
Is it number 7, right?
Yes.
Okay. O Lord Damodara, just as the two sons of Kavara, Managriva and Nalukovara, were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you, in your form as a baby tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give it to me, your own Prema Bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Go ahead, Mataji.
Oh Lord. O Lord Damodara, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent robe which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes.
Jai. Beautiful. Okay, Madhu Kumari Mataji, over to you, and we will recite it with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Namame.
Oh, sorry, Madhu Kumari Mataji, could you unmute yourself? There was a bit of a background noise, so I had to mute everybody.
Sorry.
I do
Okay.
apologize. Thank you.
Namameshwaram Sachitanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam Yashodabiyolu Kaladavamana Param Rishtam Atyantato Dhritya Gopya Rudantam Muhurnetram Yugmam Rijantam Karam Bhojayugmena Satankanetram Muhushvasakam Patrirekhankakanta Titagraivam Damodaram Bhaktibadam Idi Triksvalila Kunde Swaghosram Nimajantam Akhyapayantam Tadiyeshitagneshur Bhakterjitatvam Punha Prematastam Sata Vritti Vande Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Padimva Nachanyam Vrineham Vareshadapiha Idam Teva Puranatha Gopala Balam Sada me manasya virashtam kimanye Idam te mukham bhojam atyantanile Vritam kuntalai snigdha raktascha gopya Muhurchumnitam limbaraktadharam me.
Hare Krishna Mataji, could you please mute yourself? Sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Carry on, Madhu. Yes, Madhu.
Idam te mukham bhojam atyantanile Vritam kuntalai snigdha raktascha gopya Muhuschumbitam bimba raktadharam me Manasya virastamalam lakshalabhe Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukha Jalabdimagnam Kripa Drishti Vrishyati Dinam Batanu Griha Nishama Magnyamedhyakshi Drishya कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धा मृत्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मुचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकां मे प्रयाच न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्ते स्तुदाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोधराय था विश्वस्य दाम्ने नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयाय प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवयतुभ्याम् नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयाय प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवयतुभ्याम् हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय यशोदा दामोदर यशोदा दामोदर यशोदा दामोदर जय जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर जय जय हरे कृष्णा
Joy, wonderful. Haribol. Thank you so much. That was very nicely sung, Mataji, very melodious. Hare Krishna. So thank you, everybody. Just if you could all hold on, I'm going to pass the, well, can't say stage, but I'll pass the mic to Hima Mataji. Hima Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Over to you, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Do I need to come on video or not? Not really.
I think it'll be good if you can.
I'm very shy. Okay, let's try.
That's okay.
Let's try. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, okay. I have to read because my memory is not that great.
That's okay, Mataji, no problem.
Hare Krishna, everyone, and please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Just wanted to share a few words on behalf of CHAD members to express our sincere, heartfelt gratitude to our dear CHAD facilitators. His Grace Mukunda Hari Prabhu, His Grace Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, His Grace Divyanam Prabhu, and dear Madhu, Kumari Mataji. It is such an honor and privilege to be part of CHAD. It has transformed our lives by offering us insightful knowledge and realizations on the Bhagavad Gita. It seems like each class not only offers us knowledge on Bhagavad Gita, but due to the extensive references that our facilitators use, it gives us an insight into Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srila Prabhupada's pastimes. And I feel it's such a unique opportunity for us. With everyone's blessings, I would like to just share some extracts from Chaitanya Madhya Leela, where Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And this, I feel, is depicted so well by our facilitators. The greatest service one can offer to the Lord is to infuse devotional service into conditioned souls so they are released from conditioned life. A Vaishnava is recognized by his preaching work, by awakening and connecting the living entity to his eternal position. Giving all living entities knowledge of their eternal identity, that makes me happy, says Mahaprabhu. Unless one is empowered by the Lord, he cannot spread Krishna consciousness. As soon as one is favored by the mercy of his spiritual master, one is given all the power to spread Krishna consciousness and preach without material impediments. I truly and sincerely believe that CHAD team have fully imbibed, encapsulated, embraced the mood and the instructions of Mahaprabhu. You all have exemplary Vaishnava qualities. One experiences the effect of empowerment within few sessions. Thank you all for your day in, day out commitment and conviction to the scriptures, to the mood of our acharyas, and to our dear Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for empowering us and uplifting us fallen souls. truly inspirational. And on behalf of the members of the chat team, I'd like to present you all with this Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. It'll be delivered to you as and when you're ready. And we would have loved to honor you all with Mahagalans and done some nice things, but this is the best we can do under the circumstances, and I hope you all accept our humble offerings to you. In addition to this, we are all offering 35 Bhagavad Gitas to the what's it called? Live and give.
Live to give, yeah.
Live to give.
Wonderful.
Live to give. Sorry.
Jai.
Yeah, thank you all. But I'd like to invite. Oh yes, Yash. Yes, of course, Yash and Sridham. We would love to, we love their recitations, and we've got a small token of appreciation for them as well, which will be delivered to them. We really enjoy hearing your recitations. You both are our inspiration, as we've all now started learning the Sanskrit verses, and you are our inspiration. Please keep serving and sharing your enthusiasm, and with lots of blessings from all of us.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
I'd like to invite Palika Mataji to say a few words.
Hare Krishna, dear devotee, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It is such a wonderful vocation today to have to honor all the wonderful devotees like Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, Mukunda Hari Prabhu, and Dibbanam, and our two little angels. Has been I'm feeling so honored to Hema Mataji to speak. I haven't prepared anything written, but my appreciation is there. Like Dibbanam Prabhu came and served with me in the some time ago in the temple. We were both serving together on Sundays, and first time I saw Dibbanam Prabhu, it was such a wonderful state where this is a Brahmana. I said, have you been initiated? He said, no, Mataji. So I said, you need to be, Gadadhar Prabhu chose him. I mean, just seeing him one part of me, he said, yes, this devotee is going to her. So it's such a wonderful quality Dibbanam Prabhu has. And I'm so inspired, and he's so inspired by his spiritual master. And Mukunda Hari Prabhu also, I get connected so much. Vrindavan Chandra has wealth of knowledge, giving us this Srimad Bhagavatam, connecting to Chaitanya Chaitamrita and Bhagavad Gita. We are getting enlightened every day. So I'm very, very grateful. And according to this scripture, our knowledge is never complete without giving some, dakshina. Even Lord Krishna has given dakshina to his guru. And he gave the life of his child, but we are not in that position. So we have got Srila Prabhupada's wonderful, his lotus feet, and we can take shelter on. So thank you very much, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, Mukunda Hari Prabhu, and Dibbanam Prabhu, and Madhu Kumari, and the two little angels. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
I've got Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu. Would you like to say a few words?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for taking this wonderful initiative, Hema Mataji and all the devotees. I can certainly speak for my wife and myself. These chat sessions have been extremely beneficial in very troubled and unusual times, and we are now entering a second wave of COVID-19, so all the more relevant. I'm sure Prabhupada is very pleased with all the efforts that the devotees are putting in to bring solace by the words of Krishna. And Krishna confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita on the 18th chapter, verses 68 and 69. He says, for one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. At the end of life, he will come back to me. And then he goes on to reconfirm that there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he. And and will there never be ever, and nor will there ever be any more dear. So I think the token of appreciation that we all like to give you is just from the bottom of our hearts. Please continue for spreading the message of Lord Chaitanya through the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. I'm sure the blessings of all the devotees are with you, as well as all the acharyas who are right now really, really helpful doing this. Thank you very much.
Bharat Bhai, would you like to say something?
Bharat Bhai, Hare Krishna to everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Bharat Prabhu, we can hear
Thank
you,
you.
Prabhuji.
Yes, we can, Prabhuji.
Fairly new in this Hare Krishna. Before 45 years, I was in and out of many sampradaya and could not settle because my mind was lots of questions were not answered. I've been coming here for like 7 months quite regularly, and I think my mind is getting a bit clearer now. My question seems to be answered slowly, spiritual questions, and I hope to continue. And my special thanks to all the devotees who are very sincere and keen to learn, and all the 4 teachers who takes lots of trouble and they give all they have for us. They do lots of references for us, and they find this various quotation from Puran, Narad Puran, and Bhagavad Puran, and everything. And really we are very, very fortunate to all the 4 teachers, and I'm deeply grateful, and I hope I'll continue. It's a very slow journey, but it's very, very enjoyable journey now. I'm really so-called not so much puzzled now mentally. I'm getting a bit lots of clarity in my mind now about so-called higher power or Paramatma or Parameshwar as well. Hare Krishna, finish now.
Thank you, Bharat Bhai. Thank you. Got Santosh Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Mataji, finish.
You finish. Thank you. Thank you, Bharat Bhai.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Santosh Mataji, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Hema Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. On behalf of all the Chad devotees, it gives me great pleasure to thank all the facilitators, Divyanam Prabhuji, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji, Mukunda Hari Prabhuji, Madhu Kumari Mataji, for enlightening us with their vast spiritual knowledge, and also to thank Sridham and Yash for their sweet recitations. Our thirst for spiritual benefit, spiritual desire, and spiritual advancement is being quenched through our daily Chad sessions. Thank you all once again. All glories to your wonderful service. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji. And last but not the least is Bhagwati Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Hema Mataji, for giving me the opportunity anyway. I would like to Hare Krishna, everyone, and please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to say, thank you all to my chart leaders, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, Divyanam Prabhu, Mukunda Hari Prabhu, and Madhu Kumari Mataji. Just to say that the selfless service, giving us the association every day. And I just can't believe that you people are ready to do it. And we sometimes feel tired, but you were never tired. And also I would say that it inspired us all to go deeper into our spiritual lives. And we are indebted to you and so grateful for these sessions. And look forward to learning more from you all. And amazing classes with profound information, profound instructions as well. And I will never forget Yash and Sridham. You're very proud of you both, Beta. You both are really wonderful reciting and giving us that, inspiration that we should learn as well better. Thank you so much and bless you, and Krishna's mercies are all with you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
That's it, Prabhuji, and we'll come and deliver the our token to you as soon as you are available.
Sure. Thank you, Hema Mataji. I will maybe pass the mic to Vrindavan Prabhu to just say some words. I'm speechless. Vrindavan Prabhu.
Oh, I'm deeply touched by the sentiments of the devotees. It is said, you may have a speaker, but if you don't have the audience, there's no event. What's really amazed me is the sincerity of all the attendees in the chat group, and that's where the encouragement to speak and to give comes from. It's the reciprocation and the greed from the devotees to receive this knowledge. I was just thinking today, many lesser people would not have persevered. And Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, those that study the Gita, they worship him with their intelligence. So all of us, we've become like a family now. That's how I feel, like we're one big family. And I feel really connected with all of you all. I didn't really at any point in time expect anything in return, but as Srila Rupa Goswami says, there's 6 loving exchanges between devotees: to offer prasad, to accept prasad, to give gifts, to receive gifts, to inquire confidentially, and to give confidential knowledge. So these are 6, according to our Shastra, these are exchanges of love, and we see it like that. It's a reciprocation of love between devotees of the Lord. So thank you. Thank you again. It's such a wonderful gesture, and I'm not sure whose idea it was to give us the gift of the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, but that's the best gift we could have ever hoped for. So thank you so much. All glories to your service. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
May I say something, Divyanam Prabhu, if I can?
Please go ahead, Mataji.
Just want to really sincerely from the bottom of my heart thank you. But I also want to share something. When I started on my spiritual journey, at that time there were many times that I used to go to Srila Prabhupada's rooms at the manor and sit in his bedroom and chant. And many of you must have noticed that there is a picture of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet there. And once Srila Prabhupada had said to somebody in a letter that what is the difficulty? If there is any difficulty in your spiritual life, I will kick them out, he said. And for me, that was a very, very inspiring thing. And I took a picture of his lotus feet, printed it out, and had stuck it on the wall of my bedroom. And whenever I used to feel, distressed or needed help in my spiritual life, I used to think of what Prabhupada said, that he will kick out if we take shelter of his lotus feet. And I used to always do that. And that is why I think this gift that you're giving has touched me personally so much, because for me, that has been something that has pushed me and motivated me, his lotus feet. So I really cannot express my emotion. I'm really touched. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you.
It was Bhagavati Mataji's idea because she has one. So
thank you. Thank you so very much.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Hema Mataji. I think Vrindavan Prabhu has summed it up very nicely. All I want to express is my gratitude to all of you. One day, I at least I can speak for myself. I pray to Srila Prabhupada that I may become a recipient of an iota of these qualities by somehow or other being in the association of devotees like Vrindavan Prabhu, Mukunda Hari Prabhu, and all of you actually. But what I also see is the reflection of those qualities which you've just shared, or whatever you have mentioned in appreciation of all of us who are trying to do this small service, is actually a manifestation of your own qualities which are coming out. So I'm very grateful to all of you, because I do want to share a secret with all of you. There are 47 of you. Am I okay to share that secret today?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Well, when we started the chat service, I said to Vrindavan Prabhu, I'm not sure how this service of book distribution and Sankirtan is going to happen here in Bhaktivedanta manner. Somehow or other, we got to do it. So Prabhu said, you all have to do it together. So, and then obviously, Vrindavan Chand Prabhu has always been a great advocate of, Sankirtan, but equally that it needs to go on with hearing and chanting together. That makes a complete recipe, as my Guru Maharaj also says that. So in that spirit, we started, and I can see that hope and the mood is now manifesting in all of you so wonderfully, that all of you are imbibing and taking it so strongly, this whole process of Krishna consciousness, and trying to distribute it with others. Once Malti Mataji was giving a class, and somebody said, Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that you perfect your life and then you try to preach others. So he asked Malti Mataji at Bhaktivedanta manner, till how long can we wait till perfect our life before we start preaching? She said, you'll be waiting many lives if that's the idea. You got to start preaching what you have shared. And she said that when she was in San Francisco and Prabhupada came for the first time, after the lecture, Prabhupada finished the lecture in 30 minutes and he said, all of you go out and preach. And that was her first class of Prabhupada. And she was completely stumped when Prabhupada said that. And then she put her hand up and said, Prabhupada, I don't know anything about Krishna consciousness. What can I preach? So Prabhupada said, you just heard the Hare Krishna chanting. Do you know that? She said, yes, that's the only thing I know. So Prabhupada said, go out there and start chanting the holy name, actually. So that's all I can say for myself. I am also in some degree or other a beginner in Krishna consciousness, but somehow by the love and affection of Mukunda Hari Prabhu and Vrindavan Chand Prabhu, I'm trying to carry on this service and with the support of my family and my wife, without which it will not be possible. So thank you very much, all of you. And I know all of you are doing such wonderful service already through, taking such an inspiration from each other. Each one of you are doing some glorious services, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is directly overseeing those services of yours. And I pray to Srila Prabhupada on this day that he continue to empower us, and then we come together as a wonderful community and try to do our best we can to serve Srila Prabhupada in this wonderful, glorious moment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So thank you, Hema Mataji, for organizing this. And we are deeply touched, as Vrindavan Chand Prabhu said. So if you have any more concluding words, if not, by the way, one thing I do want to say, it's nice to see everybody's video. So it might be a good idea to start using the video.
That's right. Hare Krishna. 3 Hari Bols for our child leaders, please.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Group ki jai.
Kartik Maas ki jai, Shri Radha Damodar Manth ki jai, Srila
Prabhupada. And also thank Hema Mataji for arranging
Thank you, Hema
this.
Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
For your support, all the members. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.